Did you know? Scarlet Badis, scientifically named as Dario dario, is the most beautiful and very unique dario variety in the world. But it is very hard to keep and breed them in captive setups. Don't worry, following this video, you will be a master of keeping and breeding this amazing Scarlet Badis. This is a descriptive video about breeding Scarlet Badis. Please go through the whole video and start to breed your Scarlet Badis. Here we are talking about the natural habitat, water chemistry, filtration of the tank, lighting for the tank, male and female identification, Tankmates, how to settle them into our home aquarium, and most importantly, successful breeding of Scarlet Badis. First, we will roll into our intro. Now we are talking about the natural habitat of the Scarlet Badis. Scarlet Badis inhabit slow-moving streams and shallow waters with dense vegetation in their native habitat of India. They are often found in areas with sandy or gravelly substrates. They love to live and show much vibrant color in tannin-stained pools with dense growths of aquatic plants or submerged grasses. The maximum length of an adult fish is 25 to 35 millimeters. Their natural habitat contains very clear water with tannin stains, especially in areas where aquatic vegetation grows densely or with submerged woody structures and leaf litter. Water pH is around 5 to 6. Sometimes it may be less than 5. Most of the time it contains slow-moving water. They don't like fast-moving rapids. According to the natural habitat, water hardness should be at very low levels. The temperature range is 24 degrees Celsius to 29 degrees Celsius. In captive setups, these three things, pH, water hardness, and temperature, play a main role in the survival of Scarlet Badis. When the water parameters deviate from natural habitat levels, Scarlet Badis will not survive a long period. Gradually, they will weaken and die. In my aquarium setup, pH is maintained near 6.5, and TDS value is maintained near 130 with water changes. The temperature is around 28 degrees Celsius. Tannin color is added with Indian almond leaves and driftwood. You can see I use river sand for the substrate and some non-active granite rocks to maintain the natural habitat of the environment. Shrimps are used as a biological cleaning crew. Some anubias plants give the look of dense vegetation and facilitate the breeding environment for the fish. For the comparison of tannin water and non-tannin water, behaviors of the fish, initially I use videos of the non-tannin water setup. Then you can clearly see how the behaviors change and color changes with the tannin setup. Now we will talk about water chemistry for Scarlet Badis. Dario fish are tropical fish that need relatively consistent water parameters. They need a constant water temperature between 24 Celsius and 29 Celsius with slightly acidic and soft water. pH should remain between 6 to 7, with water hardness between 4 to 8 kH. Here in my setup, I maintain a 6.5 pH and TDS value of 130. When it contains tannin mixed with water, though it is not exactly within the natural range of water parameters, it will give the best natural water parameters to the tank for Scarlet Badis. Keep in mind in here, my experience with my water parameters, there are 100% survival rate of Scarlet Badis. The main thing is that you should acclimate them correctly to your water parameters, and it should stay steady for a long period. Water pH and water hardness may be lowered by using dried botanicals that release tannins. Not only does this improve water quality, but leaf litter can also be used to provide your fish with food and protection, because it has antibacterial and antifungal effects. Make sure you continue your weekly water changes in the aquarium. Otherwise, your TDS value may be increased, and it will be harmful to the Scarlet Badis. These fish are very sensitive. They will deteriorate quickly with poor water parameters. Therefore, you should keep water parameters strictly under monitoring regularly and steady. Now we talk about the filter, diet, and aeration of the Scarlet Badis tank. They are carnivorous by nature, and their diet should consist primarily of protein-rich foods. Offer them a varied diet that includes high-quality flake or pellet food, supplemented with live or frozen foods such as bloodworms, brine shrimp, and small insects. Feeding them small, frequent meals throughout the day mimics their natural feeding behavior and helps ensure they receive adequate nutrition. Dario fish do not create a lot of waste, but a lot of waste can be created due to their feeding. Dario fish have very small mouths that sometimes make it hard for them to accept traditional fish flake foods or pellets. Because of this, hobbyists often need to crush up foods or give protein-rich live foods. Here you can see in my tank I use to give decapsulated brine shrimps and live brine shrimps to them. On top of this, many Dario fish refuse to eat off the bottom of the substrate. This can lead to some waste management issues. Therefore, you can use Neocaridina shrimp and wild shrimps to remove remaining food particles. Also, Dario fish will eat the small shrimplets in the tank. It will come to a biological balance with time. You can see in my tank there are a lot of wild shrimp for that purpose. The best filtration for Dario dario fish will be a sponge filter, hang-on back filter, or canister filter. Additional aeration can help keep waste off the substrate and improve oxygenation, but it is not necessary for the success of the fish. Here I maintain my tank with a sponge filter. I noted that in my sponge filter tank, they are more stable than the canister filter tank. Most of the time, water flow rate can be the reason. They do not like much more water flow. Now we will look into the lighting of the tank. Like most small nanofish, Dario fish also appreciate the cover. Most of the small rivers and streams that run throughout the continent are stained black from botanicals. This makes for very shaded water that helps fish swim in the open. Dario fish will do best with dimmed lighting along with some floating plants. Larger background plants may also be used to create more areas of refuge. This will help your Scarlet Badis fish to be more present in the aquarium, which will subsequently encourage other fish to be brave too. Here in my tank, I maintain many more plants and driftwood to make a good habitat for them. When we talk about the male-female identification of Scarlet Badis fish, I will explain it here with a detailed picture. Males always have thinner, flatter bodies than females. Additionally, males have an elongated anal fin and dorsal fin. Female fish have the same body shape, but anal fin and dorsal fin is a bit small when compared to the male. Main feature to identify male is vibrant color of the male when they get mature. The male's bodies are primarily red to orange, with lighter colored reddish bars along their entire sides vertically. The lighter color lines can be light yellow to silvery blue. Females have more muted colors and appear grayer to brown, with small reddish shades on the body. And the juveniles look identical between males and females. Blue shimmering areas on the fins are clearly visible. This can be prominent in males. It is a more prominent feature of Scarlet Badis than black tiger badis. When females become mature, their bellies get rounded. Here you can see one of my females has a rounded belly. At this point, she is ready to breed. Now we will talk about the Tankmates for Scarlet Badis. According to my observation, these amazing Dario fish have a unique set of behaviors among them. The behavior and temperament of the Scarlet Badis are as intriguing as its striking appearance. While generally peaceful, these fish can display territorial behavior, particularly during breeding periods, or when establishing a hierarchy within a group. However, their territorial displays are typically more about establishing boundaries and courtship rituals than aggressive confrontations. Despite their occasional territorial tendencies, Scarlet Badis are compatible with a variety of peaceful tankmates, including small schooling fish, shrimp, and peaceful bottom dwellers. Their interactions with tankmates are often curious and non-aggressive, adding to the dynamic of the aquarium community. During feeding times, Scarlet Badis can become quite animated, eagerly exploring their surroundings and darting around the tank in search of food. Their inquisitive nature makes them enjoyable to observe and adds a lively energy to the aquarium environment. In my tank, I feed them with decapsulated brine shrimp and live foods. Once per day is the best frequency for them. They also eat small shrimplets. Here you can see how they eat live brine shrimp. It is interesting to see them happily eating live brine shrimp. That being said, Dario fish have very small mouths, and they can't do a ton of damage, especially if they can't catch the other fish. Some of the best Dario fish tankmates include Galaxy Rasbora, Asian Rummynose, coral red pencil, golden pencil, cardinal tetra, neon tetra, Japanese rice fish, chili rasbora, zebra pleco, kuboti rasbora, albino cherry barb, raccoon tetra, blueberry tetra, monolizard tetra, Cenepa red pencilfish, red lizard whiptail catfish, rocket-tail pencil, platinum half-beak, dwarf rasbora, flame dwarf gurami, and many small rasbora, tetra, and barb varieties. In my setup, you can see they are with Galaxy rasbora and Beta albimarginata fish. We will give you a stunning video regarding Beta albimarginata breeding in the future. Now, we will talk about how we are settling them into our aquarium. I received a group of Scarlet Badis in mixed sexes and acclimated them to my home aquarium without any death. They are breeding captive fish. Acclimation can be challenging. First, I did temperature acclimation for 1 hour. Then I started drip acclimation for another hour, and I realized that fish did not show any abnormal behaviors toward my water parameters. I already set the tank 1 month back, and at the time of the arrival of fish, the tank is maintaining a good cycling process, and it is stable now. Having to mostly guess regarding their wild habitat and preferred water parameters, I aimed for typical blackwater conditions, with a pH of 6.5, a temperature around 28 degrees Celsius, and the addition of lots of botanicals to keep the water rich with tannic and humic acid. After being introduced to the setup, most of the males improved stunning deep coloration. This is the most important and interesting part of this video. This is about breeding Scarlet Badis. We already know about the sexing procedure of the Scarlet Badis. At first, we should select one gravid female and an alpha male for the breeding process. Then, we should feed them live food for a week until females get adequate nutrition. At the same time, you should prepare a small aquarium for breeding purposes. This tank should be at least 5 gallons. Here, I use my 5-gallon tank. Take well-seasoned water from the main planted tank and fill the breeding tank. We should not fill the full volume of water. Keep in mind at least 3 inches of free space should be there from the upper level of water. Every time we change the aquarium, most of the fish jump out of the tank at night and are found to be dead. Mainly when we put them into new tanks, we should maintain adequate space to prevent this incident. Then use some small natural decorations in the tank. I use river sand for the bottom of the tanks, some driftwood, some plants, some Indian almond leaves, and large stones to provide the natural habitat for these fish. Eggs will scatter under a shade. That shade may be a driftwood, plant, or any kind of shade that they realized it is a safe place for spawning. In their natural habitat, they breed in tannin-colored water, most of the time when it is slow moving. Therefore, I use some Indian almond leaves to make tannin water. Sponge filter for filtration. Sponge filters make good aeration to the water with fewer movements of water. They want some plants or plant roots to spawn. Most of the time, they love to spawn under green materials. All water parameters are the same as the initial display tank. pH around 6.5, TDS value around 130, and temperature around 28. You can see here my tank water is crystal clear. Some algae are stuck on the glass. A small amount of light is given to the tank. Small shrimp are also there to balance the tank. This is the optimal tank setup specially designed after 3 months of research for the breeding purpose of Scarlet Badis. At first, you should add the male fish to the breeding tank. Then the male will settle in the tank. After 2 days, in the late evening, you can put a gravid female into the tank. Please be careful. Following, adding the female to the tank should be in dark mode. Now you can see here my gravid female and selected male in the tank. On the first day following the introduction of female fish, you can see the initial behavior of mating. Male fish chase the female behind. After several hours of chasing behavior, male fish starts to gently touch the abdomen of the female from time to time and invite the female for breeding. After 1 to 2 hours, you can see males, and females have very quick swimming patterns inside the tank. Males chase the female under a safe shade. You can see it here. Now it is confirmed that they are spawning in the next couple of hours. Male fish wrapped around female like betta fish breeding behavior. Then female fish lay eggs, and those eggs will scatter everywhere in the tank. While spawning, males and females are not interested in eating their eggs. Continuously, they are spawning 2 to 4 hours. At the time the female finishes the egg-laying process, the male fish starts to chase the female out from his territory. This is the important behavior that you should identify with your experience. Sometimes females get stick on the glass for protect from male attack. That kind of severe aggressive behavior shows by male fish just after the spawning. At that time, you should remove both adult fish from the spawning tank. With optimal conditions, eggs hatch on days 2 to 3, following spawning. When they come out from the egg, they will hang on the glass for 3 days until they start free swimming. When they come out from the egg, they already have black shaded strips on the body. Since the first day of free swim, they seek food. From the first day of free swim, I started to feed them Serendib Aquatics Prime Egg Yolk Solution until day 10 from free swim. After day 10 of free swim, I start live brine shrimp for them. Free swim today is the most difficult part of their life. Feeding is the most difficult thing. Scarlet Badis spawning is very difficult. The egg hatching rate is very low, and rearing the fry is also difficult. The mortality rate is high in each step. After day 10, they will develop clear small strips. Colors will appear after 1.5 months of age. Now I am going to tell my overall experience about this amazing Scarlet Badis. Overall, my experience with the Scarlet Badis has proven that they want a stable habitat, which should be like their natural habitat. With good care and sustainable maintenance of the aquarium within optimal parameters, they will live long. They like live food much more than artificial food. Breeding is much more difficult and can be done only with extreme dedication and after studying the behaviors for a long time. The success rate is lower. This is the whole difficult story behind keeping and breeding this very unique Scarlet Badis. This video is the only descriptive video about the Scarlet Badis breeding on YouTube now. Go through all the steps of the video. Here I share all my experiences with you for better output. Thank you for joining Serendib Aquatics. If you have any questions or any comments, feel free to comment below. I'll try to reply to all comments. You can share your knowledge with others about Scarlet Badis. Put your experience as a comment below. Serendib Aquatics will see you in our next fish breeding video as soon as possible. Hang on with Serendib Aquatics. If you think this will help you for your aquarium journey, please be kind enough to subscribe to the Serendib Aquatic YouTube channel for new updates.